Welcome to the Healthy Habit Hotseat, where we chat to extraordinary humans and world-leading health experts to dive deep into the intricacies of the daily habits that have shaped their success. Remember, success leaves clues, right? I'm your host and resident healthy habit coach, Loz Antonenko, and I cannot wait to help you re-energize your life so you too can create opportunity, vitality, and abundance to become the master of your own incredible healthy destiny. Now, let's get into today's conversation. Welcome, Jordan Syatt, to the Healthy Habit Hotseat. Absolutely stoked to have you on the show, mate. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm stoked.
So we're just going to get straight into it. I want you to imagine that we are waiting in line to chug a stack of coffee, and we've only got 30 seconds before it's ready to go, and we're going to rock and roll and get out of here. What would be your most important message to our listeners about who it is that you are and what it is that you stand for in about 30 seconds?
Man, that's a great way to phrase it. I think probably the best way to phrase it is that my goal and my job is to help you figure out the best way to improve your relationship with food, to get you to exercise, to help you be more healthy, and not only just to do it, but to actually enjoy it, to figure out a way that works best for you to enjoy your favorite foods in moderation while exercising and just really being able to enjoy life and be more fit.
Mate, that's perfect. And I think what I love about your message, mate, is that you are super holistic. It's not about just doing one thing or doing another thing. It's about let's create you as a whole person to optimize yourself. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Now, you took a gap year between high school and college, and then you joined a 9-month volunteer-based program in Israel where you taught English to children, and then you ended up working in construction atop Mount Masada, which is where you volunteered with the elderly men and women in the region, and a lot of them were Holocaust survivors. Now, I can imagine that you have heard so many stories, mate, and you would have heard of lots of devastating tragedy, but also stories of incredible resilience. If you had to name one thing during that time, what had the most profound effect on you?
Oh, wow. That's really tough. First and foremost, you definitely did your research. So well done on that one. I do a lot of podcasts and very few people know that story. So well done.
No worries.
I'd say I think there are many, many different things. So I'm going to have to try and narrow it down. But number one is, on one hand, volunteering with Holocaust survivors and speaking with them every day for many, many months taught me a lot, to say the least, not least of which it gave me a hell of a perspective, right? Where it's like basically any day that I'm not having a good day, or maybe someone hurts my feelings online because they leave a not so nice comment, I can always go back to speaking with those people and remembering the stories they told me, what real problems actually look like, and what life-threatening situations look like, or what real hope and faith looks like. That was, I think, one of the best things I took from that. The other thing also, and I know you only asked for one, I'm going to give you another one, is almost on the other end of the spectrum. I was 18, 19 when I was there for that year, right? So that year I was 18, 19, and a lot of my friends were joining the Israeli Defense Forces.
Right.
Whereas a lot of my friends in America were going to college and partying and doing all this stuff. And it was a mandatory, obligatory service where they have to go to defend their country, or else their country doesn't exist. So I'm sort of on both sides with the Holocaust survivors, and then also with the young people, like seeing a tremendous amount of maturity and bravery on both sides. And so it put me in a situation in which I feel like I was able to see it in a place, especially where in America we don't see it very much. So I think it helped me mature a little bit more quickly and to understand how lucky I am, and to be a little bit more grateful for what I have.
Mate, that's an incredible story, and there's so much power in that. I love that you took away, I guess, from both sides of the perspective of, the people that you were dealing with, a lot of stuff that you could transfer into your own life, and obviously the way that you approach other people in your conversations with them. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
When you started university, you described it as being the first time in your life that you felt completely alone and found it, to be frank, very nauseating. Even though you had these feelings, you ended up going on to co-create the University of Delaware powerlifting team, and then you began your own training business while completing all of your studies. What motivated you to continue and to not throw in the towel?
So there were several things that happened. Number one is I actually, about halfway through my first semester, I tried to drop out. I booked a one-way ticket back to Israel because I was deciding, screw it, I'm going to join the Israeli Defense Forces. I basically failed biology. So there was one big project that semester that I had I wasn't paying attention in class. I didn't even realize it had been assigned on the first day of class. So halfway through the semester, the teacher's like, all right, turn in your projects. And I turned to my buddy Kyle and I was like, what project? And he was like, oh, you're joking. Ha ha ha. And I was like, no. I didn't know we had a project. He's like, bro, this is 50% of our grade.
Shit.
And so I went to the teacher and I was like, hey, can I give me 48 hours to do it? I'm really sorry. I've been having a rough time the last couple of months. Just give me 48 hours. I'll get it done. And she was like, no, like you can't do that. So I failed that class because I missed that project. So I was like, screw this. I hate these people. I hate this place. I went back to my dorm. I booked a one-way flight to Israel. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell anybody. And I was going to join the IDF. The reason I didn't is because later that day, I got a phone call from Louis Simmons, who's the owner of Westside Barbell. And basically he's like the strongest gym in the world. Their weakest guy squats 800 pounds, to give you some perspective. And he invited me to come train there later that summer. And
wow,
it's not like a gym where you get a membership and you have a key card. The only way you go to Westside is if you're invited. And so the only reason I stayed in school was because Louis Simmons invited me to come train with him. And that was part of the deal. So I stayed at school. I finished that year out, went to train at Westside. And I wanted to just drop everything and then train at Westside. But Louis was the one who was like, no, like you have to stay in school. And just to give some people some picture, Louis is tatted head to toe. He spent time in prison. Like he told me, he's like, the reason that I want you here is because no one's going to let me speak on a college campus. No one's going to listen to what I have to say because of how I look. So I want you to stay in school. I want you to get a degree. And then I want you to teach people the right way to train. And that's why you're here. And so he's the reason why I stayed in school.
That's epic, man. And, I've seen pictures of this guy, he is like the opposite to you in so many ways. And what an incredible tale. And to have somebody back you that much, mate.
It's crazy. Louis has a bad reputation for many reasons, most of which he's very misunderstood. I mean, he invited me, a 21-year-old kid, to Columbus, Ohio, and I trained with him 11 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I trained 2 times a day. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, I trained 1 time a day. Every day after training, he'd stay with me and he would help me study and learn his methodologies. He would take me out to breakfast and lunch every single day. He would never let me pay for it. It's like he treated me like a son. And he really took me under his wing. And I think I learned a lot from him, obviously strength training and really how to be a power lifter. But I think more importantly is how to be a great mentor and a great person. And I really try and model what I do off of many of the things he taught me, which is when you have the ability to help other people, it's your responsibility to do it.
Yeah. What a mentor, man, and the resilience that you build just watching somebody like that and letting somebody like that mentor you. I mean, that's not a lot of people get that opportunity in life.
Yeah. Very lucky.
Yeah, man. So trying to build a healthy relationship with food impacts a lot of people. And for somebody wanting to improve their health by understanding how to maybe optimize their calorie and nutrition intake, from your perspective, what's the first thing you suggest somebody should do?
There are many different ways to answer this question, right? But I think really the first way that I would say, especially speaking to a broad audience, is you have to understand how many calories you're eating to begin with. If you don't know how much you're eating, then you have no idea. It's sort of like if someone just gave you keys to a car and they were like, all right, we'll drive. And you don't know how much gas is in the tank. It's like, you have to know how much gas is in the tank before you know how far you can go, before you're going to need to know for a rest stop, whatever it is. So for me, I think the vast majority of issues that people have stems from not knowing how much they're eating, period. So I know there's a lot of hesitation for people to track their calories. There's a lot of oh no, I don't want to get too obsessive with it, which is a little bit bewildering to me. But for all of those people, I would say, if you really don't want to track your calories, then just write down literally everything you eat for 72 hours. Write down literally every single thing you put in your mouth, including water, and every bite. just write it on a piece of paper. If you have a handful of M&Ms, write a handful of M&Ms. Guarantee you after 72 hours, you're going to look at that paper and be like, oh, fuck, I had no idea how much I was eating. And then when you see that, then try and add those calories up. And you're going to be like, wow, I really had no idea how much I'm eating. And then from there, you can try to optimize it a little bit more with more whole foods, whatever you want to do. But first, know how much you're eating.
Definitely a lot of synergy in the way that we coach, mate. That's the first thing. Being accountable, I think, is a huge thing. And a lot of people don't eat mindfully these days. We're so busy just trying to keep ourselves occupied with things and wearing this busy as a badge of honor. And, you know, when it comes to food, a lot of people really don't have any idea what they're eating. So that's a great tip. Guys, write it down. Seriously, write it down. Put it in your friggin' phone. Like, write it somewhere. Write it on a serviette. It doesn't matter. But understand what it is that you're actually eating and what calories you're consuming. Now, although you haven't actually received your acceptance letter into Hogwarts yet, your girlfriend did say yes when you proposed to her about 3 months ago. So congrats, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
I actually watched your entire story on Instagram. You like planned it all out. It was actually extremely epic, guys. If you don't follow Jordan on Instagram, go and pop over onto his highlight reel, and he has his whole day where he was about to propose to his girlfriend. But what other personal and professional highlights have occurred for you over the last 12 months other than that?
Oh, man. I would say one of the biggest ones was my Big Mac challenge, which was just over a year ago now, where I ate one Big Mac a day every day for 30 days, just to show people that you can enjoy your favorite foods in moderation. And people hear that and they're like, oh, you're saying McDonald's is healthy? I'm like, no, I'm not saying McDonald's is healthy. Oh, so you're saying like you want us to eat more fast food? No, I'm not fucking saying eat more fast food. What I'm saying is if you want to enjoy a slice of pizza at your daughter's birthday party and not feel guilty about it, or if you want to have a slice of cake at your nephew's graduation ceremony and not starve yourself the entire next day because you feel like you did so much damage, then you can. It's just you have to understand how to have a healthy relationship with food. So my Big Mac challenge, I got a lot of hate for it the first few weeks of doing it. But ever since then, doing the whole 30 days, I lost 7 pounds over those 30 days, eating a Big Mac every single day. And that's been, I think, one of the biggest. It has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube now. And I think that's the best piece of content I've made. And I've been making content since July of 2011. And wow. I think that one project is a very good way to sort of summarize my career and or my goal to help people in terms of helping them with their relationship with food.
Optimize your male and female hormones with Be Spunky and Be Genki supplements, choosing from Reboot for men, Balance for women, and Recover for performance, all containing natural and organic TGA-listed Australian-made ingredients. These nutraceuticals are designed to offer stress relief, improved strength and stamina, enhanced drive, and overall well-being, and I swear by them. So does my husband. Their active formulas are a unique blend of natural and organic herbs and active ingredients, and the highest performance leaders and trainers are already taking it. Why waste more time? Visit bespunky, bespunki.com.au and begenki, begenki.com.au. Use code LOZLIFE and save 10% at both sites. And so controversial as well for a lot of people because we're fed so much conflicting information in the media about what we should and shouldn't do when it comes to following, nutrition advice. And I love that you broke down the barriers with that.
Thank you.
100%, mate. Now, you describe yourself as an extraordinarily fortunate young man, suggesting that if it wasn't for the unconditional love, generosity, and sacrifices of countless individuals, you wouldn't be the happy, optimistic, confident, and amazing person that you are today. Now, who are the people that you surround yourself with? And in your support network, who is your closest circle of influence? What kind of people are those people?
So I've been very lucky, obviously Louis Simmons being one of those people just unbelievably lucky to have him as a mentor. Gary Vaynerchuk. I coached him for 3 years. I literally coached him 7 days a week for 3 years straight, and having him in my corner and as a mentor and someone to look up to has been tremendously helpful. Eric Cressy is a strength coach out of Boston who I interned with him for a while, and he's a great mentor of mine. My mom, she's a single mother raising me and my brother, and like she had a whole lot of stuff going on with her and her work that she would never let us know anything was wrong. She was always focused on us. And then I think right now, one of my best friend, Mike Vacanti, who he coached Gary Vaynerchuk before me. He's coaching him now. I think he's probably my closest friend at the moment, and one of my greatest sources of positivity and optimism. And I think even more specifically, he's been great for me as a moral compass. In terms of, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a quick story.
Go for it.
So when I first started coaching Gary, Mike had just coached Gary for 2 years, and I had signed a deal for 3 years. There was a month of overlap between when Mike ended and I started to sort of help Mike help me get used to what was about to happen. Because it was literally 7 days a week for 3 years straight, no weekends, no vacations. Every single day I was coaching Gary. Mm-hmm. And that means traveling with him all over the world, staying at his vacation home. And so we were at his vacation home, and we were basically outfitting his entire home gym in this brand new, unbelievable vacation home, right? So we're bringing all of this equipment in, and we do not want to hit the walls. We don't want to scratch up the floors. Like, God forbid something happens. And so we're bringing the pieces for the squat rack in, and one of the edges hits the brand new hardwood floor, and like big gash in the hardwood floor. And my immediate response in my head, because I'm nervous as hell, I don't want to get fired. My immediate response was, oh my God, we have to hide this. Like, that was just to be fully honest with you. Like, I'm not proud of it, but my immediate response was to be like, oh my God, how can we hide this? Mike's immediate response, he was like, oh no, we got to put this down. He immediately went over to Gary's wife and was like, hey, we're really sorry. Like, we just nicked the floor. Like, we'll cover it. Like, immediate. And I tell him this story all the time, and it's funny, but I didn't like how my immediate gut response was to cover it up. I didn't like that. Mike is the single-handedly most honest person I've ever met, and hanging out with him has helped me a lot over the last 4 or 5 years, because it's helped me realize like when I was doing something not okay, and having him in my corner has helped me be more okay with, even if someone's not going to be happy to hear it, I have to say it. So I think having that has been a huge help with me.
Wow, that's a pretty cool story. And I love that you identified those thought patterns and those default mechanisms that were going on for you, and you're like, hey, I'm not good with this. And recognizing our own inadequacies. Why would we hide something? Wow, great story. Thanks for sharing also. Yeah,
absolutely. Listen, I don't want to share publicly that like I was going to lie, but like that's part of what I'm trying to do.
But it's part of the
honest.
It's part of the story. Like, it's the narrative,
exactly
mate.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing. You go, like, this is me. I fucked up.
100%.
This was me. I know. I own that, man.
Yep, exactly.
Now I know this is going to be a question, but this is the last one for this episode. What are your top 3 tips to living a fulfilling and purposeful life? If you've got 4, that is okay as well.
Well, first I'll say this is I don't think I have everything figured out at all, right? I think a lot of people, a lot of times when they give this advice, they're coming from a place of, oh, I've got it all figured. I don't have anything figured out. I don't. I'm still trying to figure all my own stuff out. I can talk from my own personal experience, but I think it's important to preface by saying I don't have it all figured out. So that's number 1. I think for me, one of the ways that has helped me live a very purposeful, meaningful life has been chasing something that made me happy as opposed to making me money. And that doesn't mean money is bad. Like, I'm very fortunate to have built a business and I enjoy it. But what most people don't realize is the first 5 years of my business, I was either living in my college dorm room or my mom's apartment, and I wasn't making much money at all. Like, I had other jobs. I was working other jobs as well. So for the vast majority of my business, I wasn't making much money. But the reason that I didn't quit is because I loved it. Right. And I think that's really, it's the same thing with fitness, right? It's like, if you try and suffer through a diet that you think is going to be optimal, but you hate it and you don't enjoy it, how long do you really think you're going to be able to sustain it? But if you do something that you enjoy, that you can sustain for a long time, the results won't be as fast, but you'll do it forever. And it's the same thing with my business, where I wasn't making money for half a decade, but because I loved what I was doing, it eventually became something that allows me to support my family and my employees and all of that. So I think that's number one, is pursue something that really you enjoy and makes you happy, as opposed to the quick money. I would say, I've literally never, ever said this ever on a podcast, but for me, religion has been huge, and like finding a better relationship with God. Again, I'm by no means perfect. And I know there are some people get like weirded out when people talk about it, but like, I'm just talking from my personal experience. The more I've tried to develop a better relationship with God, I think the better and happier I've become. And then the last one also is therapy. I started therapy about 3 months ago. And I was very resistant to it. The only other time in my life I'd ever done therapy before was I was in high school and I was a really angry kid. Like I had real deep-seated anger, and I didn't know why. And my mom was like, all right, we got to put you in therapy. And I did it for a very brief period of time, and I didn't like it because I was, an angry, angsty kid. But I was always very resistant to doing it for myself. I definitely encouraged other people to do it, but I never wanted to do it for me. But I recently, about 3 months ago, started doing it, and it's been amazing. And it's helped me a lot. It's helped me with anxiety. It's helped me become more clear with the message I want to get across. It's helped me be more positive and optimistic. And I think not just physically healthy, like with my nutrition and strength training, but more mentally healthy as well.
Thank you. That was a really well-rounded answer, man. Like that sort of covered everything. And I love that you touched on engaging with something that's bigger than yourself, which is your spirituality. And a lot of people miss that mark. A lot of people get religion, spirituality, and I think self-actualization all mixed up because they are very different, but they're all very much synergistic. And I know that we don't give ourselves enough credit for what's beyond the physical space of the confines of our body. So getting in touch with something, whether it's God, whatever it is that you want to call it, guys, if it's God, if it's spirit, if it's source, whatever it is, getting in touch with something bigger than you makes a massive difference on the way that you perceive the actions that you have every day and that you take with people every day in your life. Thank you, Jordan. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you today on the Healthy Habit Hot Seat, mate. Looking forward to our next chat where we're going to be diving deep into the intricacies of your daily habits, because success leaves clues, right? I'm Loz Antonenko, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on the Healthy Habit Hot Seat. Make sure to visit lozlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, I'd be stoked with a 5-star rating on iTunes. Better still, tell a friend and share the love. If you loved this episode, you might want to check out my book, The Healthy Habit Handbook, available in softcover, ebook, and audio form on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, and all good bookstores. Be sure to tune in for our next episode for your fortnightly dose of inspiration from some of the world's most successful and healthy lifestyle masters. Remember, stay inspired. I'm Loz Antonenko, and ciao for now.